I am out in the Lomond Hills in Fife, just near Falkland, at the top of what's called Masby Down, and I'm just looking at what flooding and other damage there's been since we've had 4 days of rain. It looks like there's been landslips. I don't know if that one's new or not. I don't remember seeing this before. Trouble is, there's a path just up the top there, so obviously there's a bit of risk of anything else coming down. But I suspect this has been happening all over Fife, all over central Scotland in the last few days. Right, again you might have trouble hearing me. I'm at Yad Waterfall, which at the best of times is a moderate trickle, but there's a hell of a lot of water coming over. Usually you'd be able to hear me talking. There's only a bare trickle here a lot of the time, even when it's been raining for a few days. But because we've had such a foul summer and the ground's been saturated, the water has nowhere to go and it's just pouring up the hills today. As I'm always saying with this waterfall, it's hardly Niagara Falls, but you can't help but be impressed by how much water's coming over here, the sheer volume of it. The noise is wonderful. Just a little over a week ago, all of that over there and that underhang, that was all icicles. It had been barely over freezing for 2 weeks, and the high pressure we've been able to thank for that. It's been nudged away to the east, and the Atlantic's been let back in. All those Atlantic weather systems that we know and love have been sweeping back in, and they're coming up against this cold air over Scandinavia. And that cold air won't budge. It's been so stubborn, it just sits there. So all these weather systems have come in from the west and they're pushing up against it. They've got nowhere to go, so they just dump all the rain on Fife, actually. Quite impressive. I've moved on now from Masby Den. I am at the lime kiln on East Lomond, where they used to actually dig up limestone, I think, and they put it into a kiln on site, and I think people use it to put on farms for agriculture, I think. There's some interpretation here, I can go and check that and I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But it's absolutely soaked and all the boardwalks are covered. I'm going to get my feet wet, but I'll do it for dramatic impact, I think. Oh. So that's the lime kiln, looking a bit forlorn and flooded today. And there's a boardwalk here right in front of me, which you may or may not be able to see in there, under about 2 or 3 feet of water. I haven't seen it this flooded for a very, very long time. Nice. Because we've had no dry spells at all this summer, it just doesn't get a chance to dry out. And as you can see, this is a problem on lots of paths, lots of popular paths throughout the country. So once the main path gets muddy, people start going to the left and to the right, and they widen the area, and then there's no grass, and everything gets even worse than it was. Really needs a walkway or something here. It's just means that people have had to go around further and further every time it rains. And you can see now people are walking on the heather, and heather's a really hardy species. You know, it can survive in really, really tough environments, but it only takes a few tramples before it starts dying. So you can see the path is working its way through this heather even further, and all this is dying, and this will just get bigger and bigger, and it's not going to recover. It's about a week after the heavy rain that we had in Fife. 4 or 5 days of heavy rain, and then more rain over Christmas. I was out yesterday having a New Year's Day stroll, walking off my beer haze, and we thought we'd have a walk through the Falkland estate in Fife when we came across this on the path. That's my bike over on the other side for a sense of scale. An enormous, great big chunk. A landslip's fallen through on this path. Absolute mess. The amazing thing is you don't really have any indication of how much water has been coming down here. You wouldn't think that a small stream this big, or this small even, was capable of having such a great big flow that it could take all that away. But I'm sure if you'd been here back a week ago when all the rain was here, I'm sure it would have been a raging torrent. But you don't really get a sense, standing here, of all the other stuff that's happening underneath the ground, of all the water that's passing through and just weakening these layers. It's all just sandstone around here, so it's all going to go anyway. It's not volcanic rock or anything here. And you can see it's not done yet. That's a crack going all the way up there. I dare say it would only take another week of heavy rain like we had before, or even less than that, and who knows how much more could go. Thank you. Two ladies on horses who've just gone past. I asked if they minded me filming them when they went past, because I thought it would just give a nice sense of scale for this landslip. First horse went past no problem at all. The second one, I think 2 or 3 attempts. It seemed quite unnerved by this. Who wouldn't be? By this enormous, great big hole in the road, and it seemed even reluctant just to go over the grass. But she ended up having to walk it past. But it's interesting just talking to them. They're saying that they've not, this has happened just since last Saturday, and it's only Wednesday today, so it's happened the last few days, even though all the heavy rain was 10 days ago now, maybe a bit less, a little over a week ago. So it's obviously, as I say, the ground's so saturated that it doesn't take much, and the ground's already weakened, so it doesn't take much to actually bring the rest down. Of course, all this damage does make you wonder exactly what's going to face us here climate-wise over the years. Today's the 2nd of January, and it was a year ago today that we had the storm with 100-mile-an-hour winds in Edinburgh, just over the water. But down here on the estate, it brought down I've heard someone say it brought down about 10,000 trees. There was just ridiculous damage, which we're still dealing with now. I mean, even up there, you can see daylight through there. Before the storm, you shouldn't be able to see through there. There's so many trees come down. And then the year before that, there was heavy snow, and that did a lot of damage to the trees. So we're having all these extreme events. It seems you've got something every year these days. Do you know, when I got this helmet, I looked at it and it said front. There's a sticker that said front in it, and I thought, why on earth do you need that? And I did just try and put the thing on back to front and couldn't figure out for the life of me why it wouldn't fit. Well, there's plenty more storm damage from last year. All of this was trees. All of this was Scots pine. It looked like that did actually. A fairly healthy forest. And then in one night, all of this was felled, and I've since had to clear it all because it was unsafe and it's all been taken off the timber. One night's damage. It's quite sobering, really. But these are the kind of events I think we're just going to have to get used to. Yeah, see, this is the kind of cycling I like. Don't even have to move my feet. More storm damage from last year. Again, it's all had to be felled.